Not long ago, there was a conversation that stuck with me long after the workday ended. A colleague of mine, someone smart, capable, and deeply committed to her job, was essentially criticized for making a small clerical error. Nothing unethical, nothing reckless, just a small mistake. But the reaction to it was so intense. And it was at that moment when I watched, it kind of realized that all that work she put into her community somehow didn't matter anymore. See, if you're in a high pressure position, you probably felt this way. That moment on the job where that job you had was more like purpose, starting to feel like pressure. I felt that way too. See, on paper, everything was right. I had the education, the career, the responsibilities. Something important was missing. And I told myself, if this is what success looks like, something isn't right. See, I started questioning my life's decisions. Like, who was I doing it for? Does it matter? Why did I do this to begin with? But during that time, I realized I was in the middle of transformation. See, transformation for me started kind of small. It wasn't a big thing like, okay, I jumped over the table or anything like that. I started with a garden, planted some plants and tomatoes. Then I got chickens. Then I got pigs. Then I realized, okay, this is something I can really do. And I just kept going with it. And at that moment, I realized, okay, this is what I really wanted to do. You see, agriculture is changing. A lot of people are starting to get into it. And what I realized is in America, the majority of the farms are small family farms. However, they only represent a small portion of the agriculture revenue. And I realized something. It isn't about just growing food that makes things sustainable. There's other ways that we have to build the businesses in order to keep it growing. Now, there's the part that they don't tell you about. So if you look on social media, you see the beautiful parts of farming. You see the heirloom tomatoes in the nice woven baskets. You see the beautiful gardens, perfectly manicured. The part they don't show you is the mud that's involved, the storms that take place, and everything breaking down at the same time. And you just have to figure it out. For instance, not long ago, well, we'll say about a year or so ago, there was a storm that comes in Georgia. See, the way that Georgia rains, it rains so bad that everything just turns to mud. The pigs was restless, the chickens was louder than usual, and the chickens have opinions about everything. And I'm just there standing in the mud, knee deep, just looking and realizing, what am I doing? But then in that moment, I realized, okay, this is me and this is mine. I'm the one responsible for this whole thing. Now, let's be honest. You can't build a business off of just growing things. Grow, Building a sustainable business is hard. And that's because of the mindset that the majority of the farmers have. A lot of us have mindsets of, okay, we're going to produce something. We have a production mindset. Like, if I grow it, I could sell it. But that's not how that works. The way that it works is you have to make sure that you have a financial plan. You have to have a market. You have to have people to sell to. And, you also have to have a network of people to network with. So with that, in my studies and my personal experience, there are 4 pillars that help transform hobby-based business to successful agricultural enterprises. So the first pillar or factor is financial awareness. See, a lot of people get into farming with passion and optimism, but you also have to realize your costs, your pricing, and your goals. Because without that, you're just spending money and it's going to be frustrating just spending money on anything that you get. For example, me and my husband, we bought chickens, right? And when you go online, there's all these different types of ways to do chickens. You have your starter feeds, your other feed, medicated feed. You have all the coops and everything from Tractor Supply. And you think you have to have the latest thing going. But in reality, chickens just need a box. They need one nesting box, so they all go to the same nesting box. And all that money is wasted. So that's why it's important for you to understand your costs going in. The second pillar is agricultural strategy. Because yes, it takes patience to grow food, and that's only part of the equation. But you also have to know who you're going to sell it to and how you're going to get it to them. Because if you don't have a strategy, you just growing food and producing products, and you're going to be frustrated doing that. The third factor or pillar is relationships. See, when you get into this business, you think you're doing it by yourself. You're working the land, you're working the product, but it's not going to last if you don't have a community around you. So with the community, it includes mentors, it includes your local customers, it includes organizations and local farmers. See, the local farmers can let you know about the resources and give you tips on how to sustain your business. So even though you can start with your own land, in order for it to grow, you have to have your own community around you. And the last pillar or factor is mindset. So when you get into it at first, you're thinking, okay, farming, yay, right? But you get to a point where you're trying something new. But once you start building it on your own, you start to say, I'm building something. And once you realize that change, you realize it changes the way you handle challenges. It changes the way you make decisions. It changes the way that you pursue your opportunities. And with that, it changes your life. So, why does this matter, right? I mean, it's agriculture. Well, agriculture is important because it can lead to things. It helps build local economies. It helps with the food system. And it helps with enriching the regional system. And what also with small farms, it gives you the opportunity to be independent. It gives you the opportunity to have something on your own that you built from your own hands. And you have the opportunity to help other people, employ people, and give them reason to build something with their own hands. So if you're looking for, say, something to do or an opportunity, you don't always have to look up the corporate ladder to find it. You can start something on your own. You can build it from your own hands. You're going to get dirty. You're going to have all of the trials and tribulations as with your other company. But at least if you have your own, you know you built it from your own hands. Farming isn't going backwards. You can use this as an opportunity to transform and move the pathway forward. Thank you.